Metro 2033 is this atmospheric, story-driven shooter, and it's based on the novel by Dmitriy Glukhovskiy. It's set in Moscow in the year 2033, 20 years after this incredible apocalyptic event which has annihilated almost all of mankind. The only survivors were those that were left underground. The Metro underground system itself is effectively the world's biggest nuclear bunker. So the only people that survived were those that were in the Metro at the time. And over that 20 years, civilization has basically evolved and developed underground. So you have this microcosm of human life in the tunnels. The individual stations have turned into these city-states, each one with differing ideologies, forms of government. So you have some which are very hostile, some which are just trying to survive, and all manner of mix in between. So this is the setting into which you're pitched as a player. In the game you play as a young man called Artem, and Artem was born in the last years before the fire. He has very distant, hazy memories of what life was like. He can't really picture them, and he has this longing for this world that he's never really known and never really seen.
It ties very closely to the book. I mean, all the main characters follow the book. You know, it's always difficult. I've done a few games based on movies or books, and it's always difficult to follow verbatim just because movies or books don't necessarily follow game timelines, but as closely as we could, and the team I should say, have followed the book almost religiously. So down to the creatures and a lot of the even small nuances of the different Metro stations.
And you know, the book has been a cult hit and then a mainstream success in Russia. It's been translated into 20 languages. It's actually coming out here in the UK. Don't read it, it will completely spoil the story for you. And what the book brings us is this ready-built, incredibly deep, immersive world, a fantastic cast of characters, and like all the best science fiction, it's not just Space Marine fights aliens. There's a deeper message in it, which is why it's been such a success, we think, in Russia, and the studio have really tried to find a way in which that carries through into the game, and there are some very interesting twists that go into the game that the player will discover as they get to the conclusion.
Yeah, fortunately this is one situation where the book actually does lend itself pretty well to a video game world and to a video game play experience as well.
There are light RPG elements, but very light. This at its heart, it's you know, it's a linear, story-driven FPS. It's an experience, a ride that you go through from start to finish. So some of the aspects that you'll find are you'll need to conserve resources, ammunition, so filters for your gas mask, ammo for your gun. You even have to charge your flashlight. These are things that you'll need to balance within the game, but it's not really RPG. It's full-on, intensive, first-person shooter action. I
would say that the RPG elements that are in the game are more there to enhance the story than they are there to add RPG elements to the game, if that makes sense.
I think 360 and PC gamers are very well catered for in terms of multiplayer at the moment. So what we wanted to bring was a really memorable, engaging single-player campaign that I don't think we've seen on the platforms for a few years.
There's no multiplayer element to the book.
We think this is it's a huge focus title for NVIDIA. I think it's going to be a 360 exclusive, and we think that we're going to give gamers on both platforms a really great reason to pick up the product.